It's Mark and Pete.
Hello and welcome to the show. More colourful conversations with Mark and Pete. This is the show dedicated to religion, politics and business. Each week, clergyman Pete and businessman Mark debate an important topic. This week, why are people so fat? Well, it's quite remarkable, isn't it, that statistics show that 1 in 4 of us are clinically obese. Now, why is this? Is it just simply that we can afford more food? Is it that we're a bit lazy? Maybe there are other reasons. Now, with me today is clergyman Pete, who I've noticed is wearing an extremely large cassock. In fact, he's had to wear such a large cassock, it's called rent-a-tent. So, clergyman Pete, why is it that we had to widen the doorway for you to get into the studio?
Yes, well, I just love all those fatty foods and sweets
yum, yum.
and great big burgers with globs of fat dripping off the meat and glistening with disgusting. Anyway,
Sounds yummy.
Yes, that's what it is. No, it's that and the cakes as well. It's interesting, isn't it, that as a not just me, but as a nation as a whole, we're getting fatter, and we don't seem to care. That's what this is. It's something that's measurable, something that's going wrong that's measurable, and yet, do we want to do anything about it? I don't know. I'll just eat one more muffin, and then I'll think about it.
Yes. Now, I must ask this question because there seems to be a bit of an unusual trend. On the one hand, you're right. We do seem to be getting larger.
Yes.
So we're not talking about adults either. We're talking about children. Statistics do show that actually our children are getting fatter. We're
Yes.
getting bigger around the waist.
Yes.
And that fat seems to be weighing us all down. And yet, we see these programs that pour all over our media, which shows that you've got to eat healthily. Think of all the cooking programs that we see. Think of all those fitness programs as well that say, yes, you get out there, run around the streets. You should do at least, according to experts, at least 1 hour of exercise per day. So why get in your car and drive to the shops? Why not walk to the shops? Why do we drive our children to school?
Yes.
I remember a time when I had to walk just over 3 miles just to simply get to school and 3 miles back.
Yes,
that was good fitness, that was.
Well, it was good fitness, but you did call on me on the way there, which was a bit irritating. But other than that, I could see it was
just get you out of bed because you were far too lazy.
Yes, but yes, walking to school is a good thing to do, and that sort of exercise that just fits into the day, so you don't need to think about it. And yet, there's so much pressure not to do that. Temptation not to do that. Oh, taking the car would be easier. Oh, I could carry the files more easier if it was in the car. Oh, think of the children. Oh, they're tired at the end of the day. That sort of thing.
Well, I don't think that's a good excuse. Now, I have a little poem here that's going to set my thoughts for the day on this one. And I will want to sort of talk about what I do in my routine. And I know that clergyman Pete will talk about his regime. But here, this is a little poem called Going Pear-Shaped. Yes. Pierre the pear was all too aware he needed to find a healthy escape. Thinking his curvy skin could be more thin and should be in better shape, he went for a walk to shorten his stalk, so he wobbled wearily round the corner. Though Pierre was very keen, he was extremely green when he visited the local sauna. The sad old fruit stripped to his birthday suit in a steam room until he was approached. But through stupidity, in baking humidity, his paunch was sadly poached.
Yes. I like the choice of the name Pierre. Very nice, nicely done. Yeah.
But I must admit that on the one hand, there is an element of laziness because Pierre thought that he could just simply soak in the sauna, and that was enough. It wasn't, clearly. Now, I do know that one of the things that does help you sort of get that extra lift in the day is to get out and about, do some exercises, whether it's sit-ups, push-ups, maybe go for a run. And that, I do admit, actually does help you in the day. You might think that actually you'd feel more tired, but of course it gets those endorphins going, and of course you
Yes.
feel much
Oh,
fitter.
yes, I
Over the
agree.
course of a week,
Yes.
you start to lose weight and you actually feel stronger. So it's not just about losing the fat, it's building up your muscles.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
actually, there is something else as well. You feel mentally a lot sharper. What
Yes.
about you, Gurjit?
Yes, well, I never feel that mentally sharp, but
No,
well,
you have the blunt approach,
yeah.
maybe.
However, I do find that exercise at the start of the day. But I remember I can't remember why I was in the doctor's. Well, I was talking to my GP when I was about 20 years old, and he said, "Yes, you need to go for a run in the morning."
Mm.
And I can't remember what it was to do with, and I started doing it, and it does make a big difference. Makes you more alert. There's another thing that I find that makes me more alert and as sharp as I'm going to get, anyway, and that is to drink more water. There's an old saying which comes from when people used to drink more whiskey. I don't know, maybe it's just as popular, but not necessarily drunk in this way. You used to have a decanter of whiskey on the side was a popular thing. And people would always say, well, look, if you're not feeling very well, are you getting too tired, or you're putting on too much weight, just take more water with it. That used to be there. And I think with life, take more water with it. Ditch the whiskey, just have the water, and sip water throughout the day. And this is one of those habits that I get into for a bit, and immediately I don't overeat because it's a misplaced appetite. I'm not really hungry. I want water. I'm
Yes.
dehydrated. So I sip water throughout the day, and also it makes me feel sharper, more alert. And while I'm remembering to do that, this continues. It's a permanent effect. And then I fall out of the habit, and I think, yeah, I'm feeling really tired and putting on a bit of weight. Oh, yeah, I haven't got a water bottle with me. That means I'm not sipping the water anymore. So that's I think one of the bit. It seems like a small thing, but it ends up being, if you pardon the pun, a big thing. Drink a little bit of water regularly throughout the day, and
Yes.
you'll be a lot fitter
Well, I want to sort of bring this
and
into a
sharper.
business context because there actually is a relevance here. Now, a lot of people have done studies to say, well, now businesses are responsible to actually provide water. So we all know that the water cooler in the corner isn't just the place to have a moan at your manager, but it actually is there to hydrate you throughout the day. And that is very, very important. Now, it's interesting that a lot of companies have taken a lot of interest in the health of their workforce. So some people will bring in, health advisors that they will analyze your health. They will even possibly pay for you to be part of a gym. So I'm sure that some of our listeners have probably got some form of gym membership, and actually that is a good thing. So I think more employers taking interest in their employees' health is actually a good thing. But coming back to, why is it that people are getting so fat? Now, is it just simply that, food is more tempting? Maybe it's got too much sugar and it's just very nice and palatable. Or is it that there's something else? Is it that the pressures of society is such that we're a bit depressed? Now, tell me, Clergyman Pete, are you finding that your parishioners have got the burdens of society on their shoulders such that they're sitting there munching through their biscuits and burgers and really sort of pouring out their problems to you? And that's why they're getting so large.
Well, I have to say, the depression, by it I mean depression, is one of the biggest issues that present to me, say, in pastoral counselling. What are people suffering from? They're feeling depressed. It might not necessarily be actual clinical depression. Maybe a doctor wouldn't designate it as that, but they're feeling down, they're feeling depressed, and they're usually putting on weight as well. The two go together very, very firmly. And that seems to be so for individuals, and I'm seeing it increasingly. Of course, that's just my particular experience. That's anecdotal. But if we look at the rates of depression across the country, rates of suicide, we can see that it is increasing, particularly among men. Several studies have shown that. And you can also see that obesity is increasing
Yes.
That includes among men. So, are they cause and effect? Well, I suspect that they are. I think that there's a growing sense of depression, and that tends to come, when there's no hope for the future, and it's not so much how you are now; it's how you see yourself in the future, and what direction are you going in? What purpose have you got? And if you haven't got purpose, of course, you've always got donuts.
Oh,
You
yes.
see what I mean? It's a way of comforting yourself. The Bible says, in several places that we are to look after our bodies. The classic one, 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 19. Do you not know your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit, whom you have from God? You're not your own. You were bought with a price. So glorify God in your body. There were several passages like that, and this doesn't mean, of course, that if you're fat you can't glorify God, but it does mean that your body is given there for you to take care of, and not simply to abuse. And if you abuse your body, you're effectively abusing yourself. So it doesn't make sense at any level. However, what the Bible also gives us is a sense of purpose, and I believe we're losing that sense of purpose. We're heading in, as a culture, into depression. Not just lots of numbers of people, but the whole of culture seems to be heading into depression. Now, if I'm right on that, maybe that is the reason why we're heading into severe case of blobbiness.
Oh dear, I'm feeling depressed already.
Yes,
So
we're
what
getting
you're saying,
fat.
basically.
Yeah.
So the point here is don't be a donut, because the fact is that if you're
Yes.
like a donut, it is empty in the middle. If
Oh,
your life is
right.
empty, then surely you have to fill it with something purposeful.
Yes.
Okay, so we get that. But it's not as simple as that, is it? Let's face it. The pressures on people today are such that they've got mortgages, they've got bills to pay, they've got pressures at work, they've got pressures with their family. I mean, how do you best plan your life in such a way that you can be fit mentally, fit physically, but fit spiritually? What would you say are the best things to do?
Well, I'm going to give a bit of answer. I'm going to throw it back to you, because I think there's two sides of this. So there's a spiritual, and then there's the material. Now, spiritually, we need to look to what is our purpose in life, and I believe you need to start reading the Bible. You need to see how God has this plan, which he invites us to be a part of, his plan for the world. And it's a thrilling, exciting plan which goes through this life, through death, and into the life to come. And so it's absolutely essential that we train our bodies to make us fit so that we can serve God in this plan. We've got this purpose and hope for the future. But so that's spiritually how we do it. But surely there's a way to envisage that, to give yourself purpose in terms of providing yourself with an income. How do you think logically and rationally? What is my purpose? How do I not simply take whatever job there is? How do I plan so that I've got a purpose in my life?
Yes. Well, this is just something that is what I do, but not necessarily what everyone should do, but it's an illustration. One of the reasons why people get depressed is because perhaps some of the challenges of life are such that it seems like a daunting prospect, that there's no way to succeed.
Yeah.
Now, everyone, no matter whether you're a politician, a leader of a nation, whether you're a leader of a business, or whether you're a leader of a family, it doesn't matter. But the fact is that we all face problems. But what we should be doing, and this is just simple techniques, is setting yourself a simple goal, a goal which you know is achievable. That goes for any business. It has to be something that's realistic and is attainable. If it's too unattainable, then people will get depressed because they're not achieving their goals. But for example, on different levels, if it's a financial goal, you may say, I am going to perhaps set aside a goal where I'm going to earn a little bit more money. Or at least, for example, it could be, I'm going to save some money. It could be very simple. It could be £10 a week. Instead of buying that pile of donuts, Clergyman Pete, what you can do is perhaps put that to one side.
Oh.
Maybe you could give that to charity. Maybe you could use it to buy something useful for other members of the family. So I know these are simple techniques, but people don't do them. The other one is, and it's a physical thing, is if you're not really into sport, maybe what you could do is just go for a walk. Just a simple, half an hour walk around the estate, or maybe in your local park every day could get you out, break up the routine, and it's just something that, starts to see the world in a different way. It's a simple thing. So essentially what you're doing is you're breaking the depression by giving yourself something else. Maybe it could be that, you might sort of change your routine a little bit. Perhaps put something else in there. Pick up a different hobby. Maybe it could be that you do something like that. Here's another one. And we don't want to push this too much, but there's a lot in your local community, whether it's go to your church. Perhaps it might be that you just flick open a book, read a book, maybe even read the Bible. Who knows? Something which starts to sort of break up a routine. Because one of the reasons that people do get depressed is that they're in a rut and they don't see a way out. So they use food as a comfort source. That's very common. So I think that's the other thing. But definitely the reason that a lot of people are getting fat is because I think that people are starting to see too many things as being easy. So, for example, getting in a car and driving to the shops when perhaps 20, 30 years ago, people would have thought, look, a 15-minute walk isn't going to cause me too much pain. I can walk to the shops in 15 minutes, and yes, I've got to come laden down with my bags, but they actually feel pretty good after they've done their walk. So there are things like that which, will affect people in different ways. I understand that not everybody can go for a 15-minute walk, especially if you're in the middle of a very, very busy centre and you can't physically walk out. You're going to possibly encounter some hazards. But there are other things that you can do. And I think that that's part of the problem, that our society, particularly in the 21st century, is such that we've become a little bit too lazy. We've either got too many pressures, and maybe that one thing which is interesting, and this is purely a statistical thing, whenever we see a major sporting event, say, for example, like the Olympics, which has just recently occurred in Brazil, Rio, that we get this uplift. People start to go out and about. They start running. They take up a sport, but it tails away. So one of the things is you've got to be committed to your new regime. There's no point in thinking that doing it for a week is good enough. Stick to it. Keep it going.
Yes.
So I think that I know that you certainly would have got a gold medal at eating the donut competition or flinging the donuts and clearing up the donuts. Yes. But what are the techniques would you suggest?
I think that the point you make about that it's easy to hop in the car and that's the sort of thing, and also that foods of all types are readily available, so you can overeat quite easily, and there is an argument that foods are made unhealthily, but actually you could choose to eat healthily if you really wanted to. The problem is temptation. There's the temptation to take the car. There's the temptation to just switch on the TV instead of going out and meeting people. There's temptations not to do exercise. The fact that exercise is good for us is widely known. We can't say that we don't know. I think that's not a very good excuse. It certainly doesn't work these days, because it's just pushed down our throats how much exercise we need. It's in adverts, it's in TV programs, it's all around us, the idea that we need to exercise. So the problem is one of temptation and not giving in to temptation. And the way not to give in to temptation of all sorts is to put something else in the place of the thing that you're tempted by. So having a purpose, or having these small goals that you can actually achieve, something that you want, something that makes you feel good, in fact, is better than the thing that you were tempted to do, which was, just slop around or drive in the car. And that's the technique that works for all temptation, putting something in its place, something that's better. It's the concept of sacrifice. You give that up for something that's more important to you.
Well, I think that's an important point to end on. So, listeners, what would you see as a technique working for you? We would love to hear from you on this subject because it's something that affects us all. You know, your own health is important, not just to you, but to people who rely on you. So drop us a line on markandpete.com, fill out the contact form, and we'd love to hear from you. We'll read out your answers on the next show. So join us again next time for more colourful conversations with Mark and Pete. Put the donuts away.